On a Friday night, though, after that, and you find out that you are being fired?
Yeah, actually, you hear the remnants. I had this respiratory thing, and I was home and not feeling so great, though I'd worked all day from home, and got a call from one of my colleagues asking if I'd been fired. I didn't know what he was talking about. I checked my email and got back on the phone and said, yeah, it looks like I've been fired. Or at least I got an email saying I was terminated. That's what the lawsuit's all about.
Did the email offer any justification?
Yeah, I got the email that I think was substantively the same that everyone received. And what it said was, due to changing priorities, my position as the Inspector General at the Department of Defense had been terminated effective immediately. So thank you for your service.
That's interesting to me because about the priorities, your job, for people who aren't familiar with what you do, is to find waste or fraud and abuse and to report on that. And that's the reason you're insulated from politics in that role. And the administration says every day that they are focused on finding waste, fraud, and abuse. Do you think it's odd that they are firing the very people who are in those positions to help them do that?
Yeah, it's very troubling, and particularly doing it in the widespread way they did, and without giving Congress and through Congress, the American public, any rationale. It's extraordinarily troubling. But if I can, you make a really great point, Caitlin, that the emails themselves say that we were fired due to changing priorities, and that misperceives the whole role of inspectors general. We're independent watchdogs working with our teams within the agencies to, as you say, uncover waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption.
Well, and I was looking into the work that you've done, and Ukraine and spending there from the U.S. aid money has been a particular target and complaint of President Trump's. You actually did a report on this last year to say that how that money was being used was not being tracked as it should be, that it wasn't being followed closely enough by officials at the Pentagon. And because of that work, that improved, as you later said, and tell me if I'm wrong, that is exactly what President Trump says is a priority to him.
Yeah, we did a whole robust range of oversight over U.S. security assistance to Ukraine. And as the congressionally designated Special Inspector General for Operation Atlantic Resolve, which included all aspects of U.S. assistance to Ukraine, partnered with others in the oversight community to make sure we were covering all the risks associated with that. One of the things I always told my folks, and we really emphasized to your point, is I and my office and our offices took no position regarding whether there should be assistance to Ukraine, what the policy should be regarding Ukraine, anything like that. That's up to the administration. That's up to Congress to decide. And so that's one of the reasons the independence is so important. If we were perceived as people who were there to advance the administration's policies, whatever they may be, then we wouldn't be able to do that hard-hitting oversight, and it wouldn't be credible with the American public.
There was a joint interview that Trump and Elon Musk have done with Sean Hannity. We saw part of that tonight on whether there's any friction in the relationship between Trump and Elon Musk. This is what they had to say.
Actually, Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president.
What was remarkable to me about that was not even what he said, but it's just they're doing an interview together. I mean, the president of the United States doesn't often sit down with anyone else for a joint interview.
Unorthodox, non-traditional. You know, I don't sense the tension that, you know, the soap opera, you know, writers want to draft up in D.C. Trump has surrounded himself by smart, rich, powerful people for 50 years. He's quite comfortable.